friends, welcome back to my kitchen. So we are rushing off to an event tonight and we thought tacos would be an easy dinner, and I realized that I don't have any tortillas. So I'm gonna make some tortillas, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna share with some people how to make your own fresh tortillas. They are not hard, super easy, literally 2 ingredients and that's it. So I have our masa here. This is just a bag of regular Quaker masa. Works really well. We're going to put 2 cups of our masa flour in our bowl. I made homemade tortillas a couple of weeks ago for the first time, and they were phenomenal. And I was telling my husband, I said, I don't know how I'm ever going to go back to regular tortillas ever again. I'm gonna take off my jewelry because we have to get in here and mix this. So we have 1 2/3 cup warm water. So we're just gonna get in here with our hand. You could use a spoon or a fork or something. To make these, I just like to get in here with my hand because I can really feel what the masa is feeling like without over mixing it. Sometimes I feel like when I'm mixing stuff like this with a fork or something like that, I just don't feel like I can get a good mix on it. You know what I mean? It's hard to do that. So we are going to dump this onto our board now so that we can work this a little bit easier, so I can get both of my hands on here. So you really have to knead your masa until you end up with a nice dough. You want a good dough. It shouldn't be super sticky. It should be should just be nice and smooth, like a really good smooth, almost like a bread dough kind of. You just want to keep folding it and kneading it on itself until you end up with a really nice dough. And then we're going to cut these. My husband and I tend to like, so I don't know if you've seen them in the grocery store. I think it's Mission brand has them, and they are called a street taco sized tortilla. They're little guys. And I love them. And I think it gives you an excuse to eat more tacos because the tortilla is smaller. So we're just going to keep working our dough here until this is feeling a little bit dry. I'm going to add just a little bit more of our masa flour to it because I really want this to kind of firm up a little bit more. It still seems a little bit too tacky for me. So it's kind of like making bread. You just want to keep folding it on itself, kneading it until it gets, and this is what makes the water absorb all of the masa, is by kneading it. It really develops all of the masa flour, which is what gives you a really nice, okay, that's feeling a lot better to me. So I just sprinkled a little bit more. That's the thing, is once you start to make these, you'll start to get an idea of what it should feel like and the texture that you're going for when you're making these tortillas. And you want them to be nice and smooth. I think we're going to add just a little bit more. Still feeling just a tiny bit too sticky for me. So we're just going to add this last little bit just so we have a good texture for our dough. The last thing you want is to get these in your tortilla press and have them stick. So if your dough is too sticky, that's what's going to happen, and we definitely don't want that. So I think this is feeling pretty good to me now. This has a good texture. So we are gonna let this sit under a towel for just a few minutes, just to kind of let it relax just a little bit. We're gonna cover it up, give us a chance to clean up, and then we'll come back and we'll get our tortillas made. All right, so we've let our tortilla dough rest just a little bit. We are gonna cut it. That's another reason I love these bench scrapers. If you don't have one, best investment ever. So this recipe says it makes 12. That is 12 pretty good sized tortillas, and I don't want that big of a tortilla. So I'm gonna take each one of these quarters and I'm gonna cut them in half. So that gives us 8. We're gonna cut each one of these in half. And we're gonna make ourselves nice little round balls. I just don't like a huge tortilla for my taco. I would rather have it small. Like I said, I really enjoy those street taco size that I believe it's Mission brand makes those, but those are the ones that I prefer to eat. But it really is up to you what size tortilla you enjoy, is up to you. But like I said, I just like the little ones. So making tortillas is super easy. As you can see, it literally is 2 ingredients. It takes almost no time to do it. It's just a matter of getting the dough made, getting them rolled into the ball. And this is a fun project. Get the kids involved. Bring the kids into the kitchen and have them help you make tortillas. There's nothing wrong with getting them in the kitchen, having them help you roll out the dough, knead the dough. It's like having the kids play with Play-Doh. My grandmother, when I was a kid, I loved being in the kitchen with her. That was my favorite thing to do ever, was to be in the kitchen with my grandmother. And so getting to spend time with her in the kitchen, cooking and doing all the things that she loved to do in there, was my best childhood memories. So don't be afraid to get your kids in the kitchen with you. Get them in there, teach them something. So this is actually going to give us 16 tortillas instead of 12. So they'll be just a little bit smaller than the tortillas that this recipe calls to make when it says it gives you 12. Okay, we're almost done. So then my tortilla press, I got off at Amazon a while back. Hubby bought it for me. I can leave a link in the description for the one that I got. There's lots of different ones out there. I think they're all fine. But this is the one that I have. It's, I can't pronounce the name, but anyway, it's just looks like it's a painted one. One of the tricks of making tortillas, parchment paper. Trust me, you don't ever want to try to make tortillas on this without having parchment paper. So you want to put one piece of parchment paper down on your tortilla press. Place your ball of dough in the center. You want to put down another piece of parchment paper. I'm going to give it a little bit of a pat. Then you lower that down and you basically just bring your handle forward and you give it a good press. And I think I'm going to give mine just a little bit more. I want my tortillas a little bit thinner so they cook up a little bit better. You just pull that off, and then here is our beautiful tortilla. Homemade tortillas, fresh, there's nothing like it. We're gonna get the rest of our tortillas made up real quick, and we will be ready for, so like this one here, you can see I didn't quite get the ball rolled up, so it kind of had a little split. So just take the dough and roll it again. Just make sure you have a nice tight ball on it. Put it down, give it a little pat, put your parchment down, and then just press it down with your tortilla press. Look at it. If you feel like it needs a little bit more, then you can move it and give it a little bit more. Just like that. Here is our second tortilla. Another fresh tortilla. And I'm just laying these on a towel so I can keep them covered. It's kind of a damp towel. You don't want to leave these out in the air because they will dry out before you have a chance to cook them. And you don't want to have that happen. So we're just going to keep going on our tortillas. And this is going to make amazing tacos for tonight for our quick dinner before we head off to our friend's dessert event. Super excited to see Scott tonight. So we're just going to keep plugging away on our tortillas. All right, so we finished pressing out all of our tortillas. We have our beautiful tortillas sitting right here ready to go. We just had them covered up with a little towel to keep them from drying out until we get ready to cook them. We're going to turn our burner on. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil in. I know that's not traditional oil to cook tortillas in, but that's what I'm going to use is olive oil. That's what I have. We are going to get a pair of tongs so we are ready when our pan's hot. I am super happy with how these tortillas turned out. They are super thin. They are perfect. These are going to make the perfect size taco for me. This is the size I like. So they're all about that size. I did, after I left you guys to finish rolling these, I did actually cut the doughs a little bit smaller. So instead of 16, I think we have 20-ish tortillas. Turn on our fan for a second. So I have about 20-ish tortillas. I'll count them here in a minute. But for 2 cups of masa, a little bit of water, and to get this many tortillas, look at the price of tortillas right now. Tortillas in the grocery store right now are $4 and $5 a pack, depending on which ones you get. And if you're trying to save a little bit of money, take 5 minutes and make them fresh. It's not that hard. It's super easy. And they are so much better. So we have just a little bit of oil in our pan. We're gonna let that get hot. I want it to be nice and warm before I start to cook these because I don't want them to burn, but you also don't want to put them in the pan when the pan's not hot enough because then they're just gonna absorb all the oil that's in there, and you don't want that either. So we're gonna grab some paper towels so that as our tortillas get done, we can put them on a paper towel so that it will absorb the leftover, the excess grease that's on them, and we won't have oily tortillas. Let that heat up just another second. So if you haven't watched the video where I made the pumpkin roll and the blondies, reason we're doing a really quick dinner tonight is we are going to my friend Scott's dessert event that he's having this evening. Scott is an amazing magician, not musician, magician, illusionist, sleight of hand. He's just phenomenal. He's amazing. He uses his talents to spread the gospel message, which I think is a fantastic way to do that. He goes to youth groups, he goes to churches, he's traveled all over the world, and I'm just so blessed to have him as my friend. I will leave a link to his thing in the bottom in the description for you in case you want to check him out. I'll leave a link to a video too for him so you can see what he does. All right, so I think our oil is hot enough now. We're going to drop our tortilla in here. We should start to see some bubbles in here in the oil as we put it in there. It should start to bubble up. Just a few bubbles. So we are going to cook our tortilla. You don't want to cook them too hot and too fast because then they will definitely burn. But as you can see, there's just a few little bubbles around the edge, which is what we want. That's going to give you a nice, beautiful golden brown tortilla, which is going to be super delicious with our tacos tonight. So in the comments, tell me, what are your favorite kind of tacos? Do you like chicken? Do you like fish? Do you like ground beef? Do you like steak, carne asada? What is your favorite meat to put in a taco? I grew up just eating the traditional ground beef tacos. I didn't even know that there was other types of meat to put in a taco until I was much older. You know, growing up back when I did, it just wasn't the norm to do anything other than just ground beef. I am a child of the 70s for sure, and so I just never knew that there was anything other than that. But I would love to hear what your favorite taco fillings are. Do you like corn tortillas or flour tortillas? Mine really depends on what kind of meat I'm eating. If I'm eating a fish taco, I really want a good corn tortilla. If I'm eating more of like a carne asada or something, I want a flour tortilla for that. Chicken tacos, I want a flour tortilla for that. It really just depends on whatever kind of filling I'm putting in it is what I want. Our tortilla is getting some color on it. I decided to switch to a spatula. You can see that beautiful color that's coming on. That's exactly what we want. So we're going to put that off to the side, and we're just going to keep going on these tortillas until we get them all cooked. All right, so we have our last tortilla cooking in our pan here. You can see it's just about done. We have our pan right here of all of our tortillas that we made. These are going to be tasty with ground beef, cheese, lettuce, tomato, and of course sour cream. That's my favorite part, but these are going to be amazing. Forget store-bought tortillas. Make your own. They're not hard. It literally doesn't take that long. So we're going to put this last one right here in our pan. We are going to cover these up with a towel so that they stay warm until dinner is ready. I will share a picture with you guys of our tacos when they are done tonight. And I just want to thank you all for joining me in my kitchen again today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like. If you're new around here, please subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the content. And I hope you all have a great night. See you next time, friends.